Good evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. in Kumba in the southwest region of the country. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news tonight. Our major stories: the 17 cases of femicide continue to increase in Cameroon in this year, which is running to a close. Several women were killed in the country either by their spouses, bandits, or individuals who are still on the run. Gender activists and other civil society actors have on countless occasions expressed worries over the visible silence of the government, especially the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the promotion of the family, as well as the indifference of the society as a whole. We will be telling you more on the shocking statistics of femicide in Cameroon in this news edition. Plus, investigations have been opened after a school principal was found hanging from a rope dead in Yaoundé, the nation's political capital. It is still unclear whether he was murdered or he actually committed suicide. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. A notorious suspected bandit who is equally an ex-soldier has been arrested by elements of the Far North Gendarmerie region. The gang leader is renowned for orchestrating several criminal activities with his gang members causing havoc. Immaculate Fogwe reports on the operation that enabled their arrest that was in Garua.
The town of Marwa in the Far North region has been hit by a series of violent attacks orchestrated by the men of the underworld. These criminal acts have caused both human and material losses, sowing fear among residents. In the course of an operation aimed at fishing out some of the bandits who have been causing terror in these parts of the town, elements of the Far North Gendarmerie Legion were able to arrest a notorious gang leader popularly known as Mario. The soldier, who was recruited into the Cameroonian army in 1997, got dismissed in 2022 after he was found guilty of impersonating his cousin's identity so he could be recruited into the army. He and his gang, 6 in number, are reported to be the main suppliers of hard drugs while engaging other illegal activities such as the falsification of documents.
We have done a lot of special operations. We begin our special operation on the night of Wednesday, Friday and Saturday, and we arrest a lot of people with military items, as you are seeing in the pictures. And finally, we arrest the man called Mario Kempes, who was settled in Marwa and dealing drug traffic and other things in the town. He was also selling the sheep, chicken, and so on. So we have arrested him in the night of Saturday to Sunday.
Mamoudou Diallo, who got arrested at his home, had in his possession military uniforms, bulletproofs, Indian hemp, and 2 mobile phones. The suspects will appear before a competent court for justice to take its course.
Now, talking about insecurity still in Yaoundé, in the central region of the country, a man who is a school principal in his 50s was discovered hanging from a rope in front of his house not far away from the Minkan parish in the Yaoundé 4 subdivision. After celebrating Christmas with his eldest daughter and family, the man reportedly committed suicide that was on December 26 the next day. Reasons behind his death remains unclear and investigations have been opened. Mala Glory made a stop over at the family residence in Yaoundé. She compiled this report for the news.
The macabre discovery of the old man in his 50s was a hard pill to swallow for the entire family. The young lady is a daughter to the deceased. She explained that they had a wonderful Christmas party at home. She couldn't believe such a thing could happen. What must have pushed Dieudonné Niemek to commit suicide remains a mystery. One of his neighbors, who wished to remain unanimous, talk of their last conversation. When I saw him yesterday, he greeted me unusually, and immediately he got into his house without the usual pleasantries. I was surprised because usually he would greet me, ask after my family and especially the kids. Yesterday's own was kind of different. I started asking myself questions.
Ça m'a fait bizarre.
Diedone was the principal of Government Bilingual High School in Gelementuka, a locality in the east region of the country. Before his mysterious death, he left behind a 4-page letter wherein he outlined his 7 years of service to the government. He complained of the mismanagement of the school funds. From the letter too, he makes it clear that what broke the camel's back is the recent robbery in the principal's office. He also says in the letter that the visit of government authorities into the school campus and his presence before the court got him traumatized. It is with this letter signed on the 22nd of December 2024 that security elements have launched an investigation. They will be working to establish if Diedone is the true author of the 4-page letter, if he actually took away his life, and if he was killed. Meantime, the remains have been transported to a nearby mortuary.
Sad indeed. Now let's come back to Douala. Water shortage remains a very terrible challenge for the population of the city of Douala. This time, the inhabitants of Cité de Palmier have been for 2 weeks without water flowing from their taps. As a result, waterborne diseases have become common in that area. Lucy Liengu is here for us at Cité de Palmier. She has welcomed this report for the news.
Dans toutes les positions, il n'y a rien.
For over 2 weeks, the residents of Cité de Palmier, Douala 5 subdivision, have not had the opportunity to see the precious liquid flow from their taps.
Sauf que nous avons déjà vidé, vous voyez bien.
C'est pas une histoire qui dure
Paul, an inhabitant, says this is not the first time the neighborhood is experiencing dry taps. In the past, they have gone for weeks without water.
Par le passé.
We are beside water, but we don't have water. Water can come one time per week.
Many housewives find it challenging to complete their chores.
If I know feel wash myself, clothes I go wash with wetty.
While children, be it in the morning or under the hot sun, walk for long distances in search of water. As a result of the persistent situation, the people of Cité de Palmier have resorted to using boreholes. Also, some business activities have slowed down. The case of Julie Pascal, a restaurant owner.
Particularly for me that I'm cooking to sell, yes, it's not easy. Because if you don't have somebody to go and carry it for you, it will not be easy for you to cook early so that people can come and eat.
The people complain their worries have fallen on deaf ears with no solution from the company in charge of water supply.
I know that many people have been complaining about it. And the terrible thing is that the people have been receiving bills without using water.
Just like in Cité de Palmier, inhabitants of Bedi and Dokoti, precisely at Senkantex, have equally been going through the same hurdle.
Meantime, circulation along the National Road number 5, precisely at Tangi, was perturbed that was early today morning as a result of a strike action by some members of the True Church of God. The members who reportedly support a certain Pastor Chana were stopped by, from attending a religious convention organized by another camp known as the Abatelet camp. It's alleged that the convention planned to be held in Mombo was banned by the divisional officer of Mombo. Smanji Kan Gabriel tells us what actually happened.
Tear gas thrown on disgruntled Christians of the True Church of God. The Christians who were coming for a convention were blocked on their way to the venue in Mombo by security forces. These Christians who remained stranded passed the night in the thin air without a shelter. The main cause of the infighting between the True Church of God Christian is the fact that the church has been divided into two camps. Some people want to destroy the True Church of God. It all started after the death of our president. The new leader who was voted was welcomed by all, but several several months after some other members promised to destroy him, and they created the Executive Bureau of the True Church of God. It is this bureau that is causing the confusion within the church. At night, while the law enforcement officers try to bring in members of the same church who supports the other camp that is organizing the convention, a face-off occurred. The church members believe the problem dividing the church is deeper. They are fighting because of the buildings we have erected in Mombo. It is thanks to our sweat and the widow's might of the Christians that they want to eliminate the Christians and don't even have respect for them. A peaceful protest in the early hours of Friday saw a stiff opposition from the forces of law and order, who used tear gas on Christians who were ready for peace to return in the church. They have not told us the real reason why we shouldn't get into Mombo. If they think there is a problem, then it's better we meet and dialogue. But if they don't want peace, then I don't know. The two camps fighting are those of Pastor Chana and Pastor Ateba, and attempts at getting into contact with Pastor Ateba's camp have been abortive. The convention, which is being organized by the Pastor Ateba-led camp of the True Church of God, was cancelled by the divisional officer of Mombo.
Now we move on to this story we promised you yesterday. It is of a 15-year-old girl in the town of Edeya who died on her baptism day, that was on December 25, on Christmas Day, as she was struggling to press her dresses to go to church with. According to family members, she was electrocuted by the pressing iron. Let's now have details with Mala Glory.
Shock and disbelief grips the Sonken family at Banda Petit Paris, a neighborhood in Edeya, Sanaga Maritime Division, after they lost their 15-year-old girl to the cold hands of death on the 25th of December 2024. According to family members, the teenager was ironing her clothes in preparation to her first baptism and communion, which was scheduled to take place on Christmas Day. Unfortunately, she was electrocuted in the process by the damaged pressed iron. I gave her my dress to iron and warned her to be careful with the iron, especially around the damaged area. After some time, I heard a loud sound of someone that has fallen. The teenager's father revealed that Sonken Ange Merveille was so excited about her upcoming baptism when the unfortunate incident happened. When we were preparing to go to church, she told me she needs to borrow an iron from a neighbor to iron her clothes. Then I rushed out to get something. On my return, I saw my wife crying that the girl has been electrocuted. A day when everyone was supposed to be celebrating, instead, the entire neighborhood of Mbanda was in tears. Merveille's mother could not hold herself. We are all in shock. It was supposed to be a day of celebration, but for us, it is rather a day of mourning. The body of the little girl has been transported to their native village in the West region for burial.
Sad indeed. Our sincere condolences to the bereaved family, and may her soul rest in peace. In other news, gendarmes of the Territorial Gendarmerie Group in Douala have arrested 4 suspected car and bike thieves. The hoodlums fell in the gendarmerie dragnet when they allegedly stole a taxi in Yaoundé last November and drove it to their base in Douala. The arrest of one of the suspects enabled the forces of law and order to fish out the other accomplices. The taxi, including other stolen vehicles and bikes, were recovered from the hoodlums. Innocent Aze.
September 24, the rate of aggression on taxi drivers and at times hijack of their vehicles by armed bandits in Douala and Yaoundé has witnessed a disturbing increase. Gendarmes who received a series of complaints launched an investigation that resulted to the arrest of one suspect on November 21 in PK 15 at the verge of selling a taxi that was stolen in Kolbikok quarter in Yaoundé. Through him, 3 other suspected accomplices were arrested by elements of the Douala Territorial Gendarmerie Group.
Et heureusement pour nous, ils sont tous passés aux aveux complets.
The operation also permitted the gendarmes to discover 3 stolen vehicles and motorcycles,
ainsi que la cabine de peinture qui leur servait de modification de la couleur de la peinture en moins de 3 heures de temps.
A victim on the scene where the suspected bandits were presented to the public says he had parked his taxi in a parking lot and just to discover the next day he was preparing to go to work, it was stolen. That is when he tabled a complaint at the 2nd District Police in Yaoundé and at the Research Gendarmerie Brigade, still in Yaoundé. 1 week after, his vehicle has been found in Douala. During that period, things were tough on his side as he became jobless and unable to provide for his family. I have 4 children to take care of. My relatives helped me with little sums for feeding. The victim hopes to bounce back into his driving activity as soon as the taxi is handed over to him by the gendarmes. All 4 suspects apprehended in Douala have been put at the disposal of judicial authorities at the Wuri Court of First Instance. The head of the Littoral Gendarmerie Legion has reiterated to the population of Douala the determination of the National Gendarmerie to protect them and secure their properties. He urged them to collaborate with them to neutralize all bandits constituting nuisance in their various quarters.
Thank you, Innocent. You don't go away. You tell us that the Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Gute, today declared operational the Yupe fishing loading and unloading modern infrastructure in Douala. This facility comes to put an end to the sufferings endured for decades by fishermen and fish vendors as they operated in a muddy market environment that was before today. This fruit of the Cameroon-Japan cooperation will ameliorate activities at the Yupe fish market in Douala.
Fishermen and fish vendors in the Yupe market, Douala, sought in a muddy environment with makeshift and deplorable infrastructures.
We were selling in mud, midepeka mud, poto. In the rainy season, we suffer with mud water.
Their sufferings have come to an end with the inauguration of a standard fishing loading and unloading facility by the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Gute, on December 27, 2024. The modern fishing infrastructure built on a total surface area of 6,000 square meters with different departments funded by the Japan International Cooperation Agency at a tune of over 7 billion francs CFA is expected to ameliorate the working conditions of fishermen in the community, fish sellers, as well as improve the quality of fish sold to customers. The facility will also improve on security and efficiency of loading and unloading operations, as well as boost sales conditions of fish at the wharf and Yupe fish market.
Je déclare officiellement fonctionnel le débarcadère et le marché aux poissons de Yupe.
Some traders receive this fishing facility as a blessing.
We are very happy because it's clean, it's beautiful. Look at it, it's like we are in America.
We have all the ventilation with air everywhere. As we are leaving that place to this place, it should be covered with the blood of Jesus.
For activities to run smoothly, they implore the state and call on other fish vendors to meet with their financial obligations in order to avoid any financial burden.
A financial burden because not everybody has paid his dues, so by with time they will pay.
PM Joseph Dion Gute invited the fishermen and fish vendors to make proper use of the fishing infrastructure. He also expressed the wish for the Cameroon-Japan cooperation to be extended to other infrastructural projects.
Now we treat you to one of our big stories. We told you in the headlines that cases of femicide continue to thrive or increase in Cameroon, a situation which has provoked emotional trauma for the families, friends, and those close to the victims, with at least 67 cases recorded in 2024 alone. Civil society actors say the government needs to sit up in order to fight against the rising increase in the cases of femicide in the country. Immaculate Fogwe comes back to the shocking series of cases of femicide recorded just in the year 2024.
The year 2024 has been marred by several cases of femicide. These tragic incidents, which have been making headlines, have brought about intense pain as many continue to mourn the death of their loved ones. Official statistics published by an online platform known as Griot reveals that at least 67 cases of femicide have been recorded in Cameroon in the year 2024. The month of January was particularly marked with 3 murder cases. The first, which occurred on January 13 in Yaoundé, concerns 26-year-old Ngase Sylviane Oona, who was beaten to death by her spouse because she denied letting him have his name on the ownership document of a store she bought. On the same day, but this time around in Douala, a woman was beaten to death by her husband for a crime which her family decided to keep as a secret. On January 30th, Hulda was killed by her ex-boyfriend in Yaoundé. Unable to bear their separation, he decided to take her life. Among other tragic cases recorded in the year 2024 is the case of John Sylvie Louisette Ngo. The graduate of the National School of Administration and Magistracy (ENAM) had her corpse dismembered by her own biological son in the Lik Ezwa neighborhood in Yaoundé, central region of Cameroon. The communication experts serving at the Central African Forest Commission got killed in the course of a dispute with her son, who later dismembered her corpse and put it into a briefcase. Another case which attracted public attention is that of Blanche Duta, who died under unclear circumstances in Chang, the Menua Division, West Region of Cameroon. Her family accused her husband, Christian Fulefak, a teacher at the University of Chang, of battering her to death. Faced with the increasing rate of violence, civil society actors continue to denounce government silence and laxity in handling cases. They urge victims to report cases so measures could be taken to save their lives.
Hopefully, culprits be severely punished and the society stops being indifferent to the killing of women in the society. Administrative and security officials of the Ndonga Mantung Division, we are now in the northwest region of the country, have committed to strengthening peace and security in the division in order to avoid a repeat of incidents such as the 11th February explosion in Kambe and others in the year 2025. These and other major security and social issues were discussed in the course of a security coordination meeting which took place in Kambe, recently chaired by the STU. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
That by the Federal Republic of Nigeria on one end and the Boy Division, the Menchum Division and the Nous Divisions of Cameroon on the other end, the Ndonga Mantung Division of the Northwest region had its own share of the armed conflict in the Anglophone regions and cross-national border insecurity challenges in the year 2024. Top among these challenges is the 11th February explosion in Kambe and many other incidents in Moi, Ako, Misiji and Du subdivisions. It is within this context that the Senior Divisional Officer for Ndonga Mantung, Georges Basilike Emmanuel, proceeded to chair the 4th quarterly administrative and security coordination meeting of his administrative unit in Kambe.
It's just a meeting to evaluate the end of the year, and then also to evaluate the administrative activities.
Apart from these security challenges, the senior divisional officer and his collaborators also reviewed the economic and social life of the division, noting a disturbing increase in the prices of basic commodities across the division.
Evaluation of the river. Some we talk about the boundary.
In a more detailed manner, the 5 subdivisional officers presented the realities of their respective administrative units, with 3 of them dwelling more on the construction of the ring road, that is the National Road number 11 stretching from Kumbu, Trundu, Nkambe and Misiji. Their reports focused mainly on the rates of execution as well as challenges encountered. The divisional officers for Nous and Aku subdivisions on their part painted a disturbing picture of complete road infrastructural enclavement, electricity blackouts, as well as telecommunications blackouts in this vast border administrative unit.
From Cameroon now, let's take news out of Cameroon. In Chad, the French military base, which was in N'Djamena or in Chad, has finally left the capital after the end of the defense agreement between the two countries, that is France and Chad. Details with Cedric Chakutu.
Months after N'Djamena cut its defense cooperation agreement with Paris, a French army base has been handed over to the Chadian army. According to a local source, French troops left the base in fire and headed to the capital around 780 kilometers southwest. The troops will then travel back to France in the coming weeks. A French military official stated that the handover was in line with the schedule organized with N'Djamena. Officials in Chad added that they would keep the public up to date regarding other bases to be handed over. Before the defense agreement ended, France had around 1,000 troops in the Central African country. They gave intelligence and logistical help to the Chadian army. Explaining the reasoning behind the end of the pact, Chad foreign minister had urged that it was time for his nation to assert its full sovereignty. The handing over of the base come days ahead of the country's legislative, provincial and local elections.
And that was what we put together for you this evening. Thank you, viewers, for always being with us. Thank you for your confidence. Our programs continue tonight. Equinoxe Soir comes up in about 34 minutes with Serge Alongo live from Douala. And then news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth-Bissai. Have a blessed weekend in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now and see you on Monday.